is our very first series, Making Family Finance Fun. And so I decided to go with the fun little picture here as opposed to, the standard stock picture of a happy looking family. As much as happiness is fun, this is a little bit funnier. So let's go ahead and get started. So before we start into the actual meat of today's program / demonstration, we are going to show a video about the University of Idaho.
University of Idaho Extension is working to ensure a safe and stable supply of water for all Idahoans. From water quality monitoring to watershed ecosystems, irrigation, water management, and hydrology, UI Extension is helping to protect our water for the future.
So you might be wondering why we're watching videos on water when we're actually talking about finance today, and that's actually intentional. We are highlighting the University of Idaho and that we are multifaceted. So we cover a lot of stuff. We have a lot of opportunities for education and higher learning. That goes beyond, just what you're going to learn in the series. So we encourage you to check that out if you have interest in furthering your education in whatever field it might be, whether for yourself or your kids. We encourage you to look into the University of Idaho. It is a great school. All right, and hopefully you heard that. I couldn't hear it on my end, and we had some glitches to start out with, but hopefully those are the first and the last for the rest of today's class. So I have an opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Andrew Bingham. I am a personal finance educator, which I know doesn't sound fun, but it really is a lot more fun than it sounds. I thought it was really relevant for me to lead off by showing my family, since this is a family series. I try to teach my kids finance, and they are 5, 3, and 1 right now. So I'll let you know as they get older if it works, but I'm there with you in regards to raising kids and teaching them things that matter in life. So before we get started, you should see a poll right here. Let me know if I'm incorrect, Nick. But we want to know how many adults are attending the program today.
Yeah, so our poll should be up and ready to go. So there are a series of 4 questions. We're just really trying to check in and see how many adults are here, how many youth are attending our program today, and a couple other questions. So as Andrew kind of finishes or continues on discussing a little bit about what he does with U of I Extension, we encourage you to go ahead and answer those poll questions as we get started.
Yeah, and so I'll leave that up. If you've already answered, go ahead and just kind of move it to the side. And then you can see what I have going on in personal finance education. So as I mentioned, finance sounds boring. I always say it's a hard sell. I'm sure my colleagues are tired of me saying that phrase. But truth is, it's hard to get people to show up for my program. So what we have to do is we have to get creative. And so we've done that with a few different programs. We have financial escape rooms, which was going on and was a blast before COVID-19, but it will roll out again here shortly, hopefully. Night of Living Debt, it's a zombie-themed apocalypse that teaches youth about credit scores. There's a series of games, not only just that one that we roll out when we go into teach these groups. We're starting to implement 3D printing into our financial programming. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of today's presentation. And then some other ones that are probably a little less exciting, at least for the kids, and Social Security, retirement planning, investing, estate planning, all those things. Yeah, those ones don't sound exciting, but they are important nonetheless. And if you enjoy saving money and becoming financially stable, then yeah, maybe it is exciting. All right. So with that, we will go ahead and close the poll. It looks like it's already been closed. And we will continue on to the fun stuff. So enough about me. All right, so today we are actually going to measure money, like literally measure money. So how tall is $1 million? And so we're going to need to provide a little more context than that. So if you took a $100 bill and stacked it on top of another 100, on top of another, how tall would that pile need to get, or that stack need to get before you had $1 million? So if you're attending with a young one, go ahead and talk about it. Throw out your guesses. If you're feeling pretty confident, feel free to leave the guesses in the chat box as well. So how tall would a stack of $100 bills need to be before you were a millionaire? I'll give you a little bit to think about that. All right. The answer is 43 inches. So if you looked at the item list before you attended today, you should have seen that one of the recommended items to bring supplies was a tape measure. So I've packed mine from home here, my trusty DeWalt. And so what you can do is you can pull out 43 inches. So put that on the ground and you can see that's about as tall as your average 5-year-old. So if you have a 5-year-old around, maybe you can measure them against that and see if they're above or below average. But 43 inches, that's all it takes before you're a millionaire with a $100 stack. So what I want to do now is have another quiz game where we talk about millionaires and what it takes to become a millionaire. So this guy here, his name is Andrew Hallam. And what I want to do is poll everybody on what we think Andrew Hallam did for a living. Now I say did past tense, he's not dead, he's just retired. So the poll should be in front of you and go ahead and answer what you think he did for his career. All right, give you about 30 more seconds. Okay. Looks like everyone's responded, so we're going to go ahead and end the poll, and I will share the results now. So about 33% said YouTuber, 33% said teacher, and then 1 each for zookeeper and reporter. So all the answers got a pick. So the correct answer, actually before we jump into the correct answer, I'm going to tell you how much Andrew Hallam was worth before he retired. Well, actually that's a lie. I'm going to tell you the answer, I guess. He was a teacher and he was worth $2 million by the age of 36. Now, if you're to pull your tape measure out and measure how much is a $100 stack, how tall does it get before you equate to 2 million? Well, that would be a 7-foot 2-inch stack. So again, you can pull out your tape measure and see how tall that gets. I'm a pretty tall individual myself, about 6'4", but I do not stack up against 7'2", pun intended. So pretty darn tall. It's probably about taller or pretty close to as tall as your average doorway. All right. So that's Andrew Hallam living it up after teaching for a few, about 10 years or so. All right. Real life millionaire number 2 is Robert Morin. I know he's a little bit scary, but he was successful in life. Unfortunately, he did pass away in, I believe, 2014. But before he passed away, what was his career? Was he A, an accountant, B, a librarian, C, a scientist, or D, a mortician? All right, and poll is up. And for those kiddos watching, an accountant is somebody who works with the money for companies, helps with their taxes. And a mortician is somebody who helps prepare people to be buried after they pass away. All right. Give you about 10 more seconds for those who haven't answered yet. All right, we'll go ahead and end that poll and share the results. Nobody thought he was an accountant, a few for scientist and mortician, and 4 for librarian. All right, and the correct answer is B, a librarian. He was a librarian for a university in New Hampshire. And when Robert Moore passed away, he was worth $4 million. Now, if we were to stack up $4 million, how tall would that get? That would be 14 feet and 4 inches. So again, pull out your tape measure. I don't know if I could fit this one in my office. I do have pretty tall ceilings. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. So if you're at home, maybe lay it down on the floor, see how tall that stack gets. But 14 feet and 4 inches, that's a tall stack of $100 bills, isn't it? So I guess you could say that's 4 or 5-year-olds standing on top of each other's heads. All right, in real life millionaire number 3, Ronald Reed. This is one of my favorites, actually. So Ronald Reed also passed away in 2012, but before then, was he A, farmer, B, a fisherman, C, a lumberjack, or D, a janitor? So that poll is popped up here, and we'll let you answer that. All right, and it looks like everyone has answered. All right, let's take a look. So 2 are saying farmer, 1 is saying fisherman, and everyone else is saying janitor. Okay, I'll stop sharing those. And the correct answer is janitor. We have a group today that's really good at guessing. Majority got almost all 3 of them right, I think. Janitor, yes, Ronald Reed was a janitor for J.C. Penney's. Kind of a cool story. This guy fought in World War II, came home, got a job, and worked that job for the rest of his life. In doing so, he accumulated a net worth of $8 million. This is my favorite because a janitor for J.C. Penney's in his lifetime was able to earn a net worth of $8 million. How tall is that in $100 bills? Well, obviously taller than all the ones we've seen so far. It would be 28 feet and 8 inches. Now, unless you got like a really, really large tape measure, there's a good chance that your tape measure won't even go that long. Mine stops at 25 feet. So longer than I can even go with my trusty DeWalt tape measure here. So again, a janitor for J.C. Penney's can become a millionaire 8 times over. That's fascinating to me. And we'll talk a little bit right now about how you can do that, because surely if a janitor can become a millionaire, so can you. So there's one more activity before we get into the details of how you can become a millionaire. So what I want you to do, if you don't have a piece of paper on you, go and grab one and a pencil, you and the kids and whoever's watching right now. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold that in half. In my little illustration, I have it hamburger style here. You can fold it in half, hot dog style, whichever you prefer. And we're going to be writing on this paper under the scenario that if I had a 25-foot stack of $100 bills, and again, that puts you, you're a millionaire about 6 or 7 times, so, $6 or $7 million. So if you had that kind of money, you would buy. So you'd finish that statement on the top half of the page. So if I had $25 stack of $100 bills, or if I was a millionaire, I would buy, and then write down what you would buy. For example, if I were a millionaire 7 times over, I would buy an ice cream shop. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a minute to write those things down. And if you're with little kiddos who maybe aren't at the writing level or can't write fast enough, feel free to draw what you would buy. Fun little picture. My 5-year-old would probably draw some sort of power wheel. One of those little battery powered cars. So again, write them down as fast as you can. If it pops into your head, don't double guess it, just write it down. All right. So for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and move on, but by no means do you have to stop writing down what you would buy. Maybe you come back to it later. But for now, we're going to move on to the bottom half or right, left half, depending on how you fold your piece of paper. And you are going to write down, I would help others by, and then how would you help others? So for me, example, I would help others by donating my ice cream from my ice cream shop, maybe to foster families or something like that. So think about how you could and would help others with your millions of dollars. I'll give you another minute to do that. And again, kiddos can draw pictures if they aren't quite at the writing level. All right, so that's been a little less than a minute, but again, by no means do you have to stop. Or by no means is this exercise over. You can always come back to it. It's kind of fun to think about what we could do with money if we had it, right? I'm pretty sure that's why people buy lottery tickets. Your odds of winning are very, very low, but people just like to dream. All right, so how do you become a millionaire? Well, step 1 is you set goals. I like to use Andrew Hallam, our first guy in our quiz, as an example, because that guy knew that he wanted to retire early and travel the world. So he set goals. Now, why did we do this exercise? Because it's essentially a goal-setting exercise. So what I want you to do is go back to that piece of paper where you wrote things that you would buy and things that you would do to help others. And I want you to circle the one that you are most excited about when you think about it. So which one excites you the most? And then circle it. For example, buying an ice cream shop. And I only circle that one is because I can't donate ice cream until I buy the ice cream shop. And then once you circle the one that excites you the most, hang it up where you can see it. Now, setting goals is very important. Meeting those goals also very important, but you're actually more likely to meet goals if you have them somewhere where you will see them on a regular basis. So seeing that list and seeing what excites you the most will be a good incentive at encouraging you in your goal setting. Step 2 is to save your money. The other two in our Millionaire Quiz just lived very average lives. To give you an idea, Ronald Reed, our janitor, when he passed away and had that $8 million in investments, his family didn't even know it. So just don't spend more than you earn, definitely, and maybe live a little bit frugally. So patience and self-control, that's really all I have in regards to saving money. And then step 3, invest it. I know investing is kind of a big, scary word. It's a little bit intimidating. You honestly don't have to be an expert in finance to invest though. It's pretty simple. People, some smart hedge fund managers, they invest money for a living. You can buy some of their funds and then set it and forget it. Let it earn interest over time, because interest and time are your friends. If we had time, I would dive into a spreadsheet kind of explaining the time value of money. But to give you an idea, if you were to invest $100 every day for your life, it would take you almost 28 years to become a millionaire. However, if you were to invest $100 every day of your life and let it earn interest, it would take you a little over 15 years. So the interest that you would earn on that money would cut that time almost in half. So interest and time are your friends. And 4, talk to your family about money. This isn't necessarily going to make the parents millionaires, but setting your kids up to be financially successful, maybe they come back and help you later in life. That's not a bad retirement plan, right? But talk to them about money. I think these discussions are too taboo, or have been too taboo in the past. I mentioned in the description for this class that we had talked a little bit about allowances. Allowance is a good way to start that discussion. Because allowances with those discussions have been proven to work. Kids who get money just to have money without earning it don't really learn the lessons, and it's not beneficial to them. However, kids who earn their allowance, who have those lessons tied to that income, are more likely to be more financially responsible in the future. Now you might be thinking, well, I don't have money to give my kids right now, or I don't trust my kids with money. So this is where I put in a shameless plug for the 3D printing implementation I was talking about. So we are rolling out a fun program with what we're calling Ibooks. It's kind of a pseudo allowance. So instead of giving your kids cash money, you can reward them with Ibooks. And if you are interested in participating in this program, you can reach out to me, Andrew Bingham, University of Idaho Extension at Ada County, and we would be happy to help you enroll in this program. Right now it's in beta testing, so you would be one of the ones that would help us iron out any kinks, but hopefully you'd be okay with that. I should mention that you can exchange these Ibooks for in-house rewards, maybe ice cream, cookies, more screen time, or you can bring them to an extension office from our participating locations and trade them in for these fun 3D printed toys. You saw a snake there, a little octopus here. So throwing that out there for those of you interested in incorporating finance into your family activities more. But with that, my time is up, and I would like to field any questions that you might have.